Here we go. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Good evening, guys. How are you doing? Welcome to FPL Family Season 2, Episode 2 already. 2 down. Probably 38. How many game weeks we got? 38 game weeks. Probably a couple of videos for each of those. So 70 odd episodes potentially this season. But we're already cracking on with Season Preview 2.0 for this video. And that is what we're going to be doing tonight. Before we start, we have to tell you about this monstrosity that is in front of us. So I've invested in this thing. This is our new microphone, guys. So tell us what the sound is like. I'm seeing already, Joey's saying it actually works. We somehow, much better sound, let's go. Josh Kelly, sounds good. Spencer Lee, wow, new mic works, brilliant. Now, guys.
But I haven't spoken yet.
I was just going to say, this is the acid test. For those of you that watched the last video, 3.2k people watching that video, by the way, which is incredible, guys. Thank you for your support.
Nice.
You guys that watch that video will know that actually me projecting my voice and being loud and annoying is actually not the problem. I was getting you were giving me some dirty looks. The guys on Twitter were saying every time I was telling you to speak up, you would shoot me some daggers. So give us your best unique New York into the microphone.
I'm not saying unique. No, I can't even say it.
You genuinely can't say it. Really?
I do feel like John Watson.
Like, yeah, you need one of them big,
I just need a big coat
coats,
and
right,
some headphones on, and I'll be like, motto.
Excellent. So El Stato saying, yes, it sounds much better. Spencer, hearing Sam, Lee doesn't get the evils. Here we go, guys.
Yay!
Right. It's brilliant. Excellent.
The divorce is off.
It's only taken us a whole season. It's only taken us, 80 odd episodes to get a decent microphone. But we are now here. We are coming to you, hopefully, far louder and far clearer than we were before.
Through some sort of alien, I don't know.
It's called a blue snowball. That's what that's called, a blue snowball.
But it's not blue.
You could get it in blue if you wanted to, but if you haven't noticed, it's got the word blue written across the front. So I'm assuming that's the vendor rather than it's the colour.
That's not what I thought that said.
What did you think that said?
Well, I thought that was a H there.
What? Blue? What's like some German manufacturer or something?
Well, who knows with you? Could have been from anywhere.
It absolutely could have been from some dodgy market stall behind CNA or something, couldn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
CNA, it's not existed for about 20 years.
That is me showing my age right there, isn't it? That is me showing my age. Guys, welcome to FPL Family. I am Lee. This is Sam. And as I said before, this is episode 2 for this season. And we're going to be looking at, we're going to be expanding upon what we did in the first video. So thank you guys for the 3.2k people that watched the last video. That's so cool. It's so cool. And that is an FPL Family record by probably double.
By like thousands, it's a record.
By like double what we would have had in the next best popular video. So that just shows, when you've got a video out there for a few weeks that's got content that's kind of applicable for a few weeks, you get a bit more views.
I just thought it was because everyone really missed us.
Oh, well, I'm sure it was that as well. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it was that as well. So for you guys that watch that, you'll know that we kind of did a first feel, didn't we? We had a first feel. We had a look at my team. The laptop broke. The sound was rubbish. It was classic FPL Family. It was perfect.
We just needed a police visit.
It was that's all we needed. But we had a look at the teams. We had a look at the players that we were drafting in, the players that were the bargain buys potentially, who was essential. It was a kind of a first pass. It's a first pass, and we've done a bit of thinking about it, but it's a first pass. What we're planning to do tonight is, I certainly have, I know you have too, spent far more time looking at my team now, looking at the players, looking at some of the promoted teams as well, and some of the kind of bottom half of the league teams, where are the bargains and who's essential and what have you. So I feel a bit more informed now, and I'm sure you guys in the live chat will feel the same. So how do you feel about the game as it stands right now?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't actually made massive wholesale changes yet to my team in terms of what they were looking like from last week. I think Lee's planning on showing you where I am later, and those of you that follow me on Instagram saw it last night anyway. But actually, in terms of they're almost like in a holding pattern at the moment, those guys.
Do you feel like you've done a lot of tinkering this season?
No, so I've not really tinkered at all with them.
Yeah, do you know what? I haven't done a lot.
No, I made 1 or 2 changes in the last 2 weeks, but nothing as much as I would have done in previous seasons. But what I think the difference is that this season I'm rather than making constant changes to the way they look at the moment, I'm more thinking about it a little bit more, looking at the players, making sort of, as you've seen on Instagram, I'm back on my paper notes and stuff, writing people's names down, and then I kind of think that over the next couple of weeks, as pre-season ratchets up a little bit, and we start to see how the World Cup is going to affect teams and who's going on pre-season tours, who's not going on pre-season tours, and all of that kind of stuff, that will inform those changes that I make. And my sort of thinking is that actually what I won't be making massive tinkering changes as we go over the next couple of weeks. It will be that last bit just before the first game week starts where I'll set them in stone.
Do you feel like you've got a core though? Do you feel like you've got some sort of key players that you know are going to be there game week 1?
Yeah, and I think
I do. I think I do.
There's probably 5 players that I'm absolutely nailed on that they'll be there for game week 1, maybe 6.
Okay.
They're not actually all in my team at the moment, strangely, but they will guaranteed be there. And then it's just sort of working out where the others fall. And I've been saying a lot on Instagram, because I've been getting quite a lot of abuse for my my team that I posted last night. Yeah, rather a lot of abuse. But for me, my whole strategy this season is to just get through the first. When's international break? Is it after game week 3 or 4? I can't remember.
After game week 3, I think it is.
It's to just get through those first game weeks, knowing that my wildcard will be played in international break. So actually, I'm not really interested in the longevity of, good fixture lists. I just want good fixtures for the first 3, and I want guaranteed starters post the World Cup, that sort of thing.
Do you think, and guys, by the way, we'll say hello to people. We'll need to take a step back and introduce the episode and the things we're going to talk about. I've got polls as well, by the way.
Oh my goodness.
Actually got some polls that might even work.
Well, not from last season, actual new season polls.
Yes, because the eagle-eyed viewers that tuned into the last video will notice one of the questions in the poll was, in the first episode of the season, where did you finish this year?
You are a legend, really, aren't you?
Me and polls do not really mix normally, but we have got 3 questions there tonight, which were actually provided by the community. So we'll come to those in a second. But
I didn't even know that.
But we've been busy today, haven't we? Frankly, so I've been
really
kind of prepping in the background. But I just want to finish on that point that you made before we say hello to the guys about the first 3 game weeks and then a wild card. That seems like quite a popular strategy in the FPL community right now. How nailed on is that in your mind? You're setting a team for the first 3 game weeks with a view to playing that wild card in that international break. Are you set on that? Are you 90% on that? How are you feeling?
At the moment, I'm 100%. That's what I'm doing.
100%. You're definitely going to do that
because the way I see it, I'm building a team which doesn't have some of the people that I really want in my fantasy team this year, because they've had long.
Kane being one of them, I guess.
Kane absolutely being one of them.
Okay.
Kieran Trippier being one of them. There's a few that I really want for the season. They're not all Spurs players, before somebody goes on about my Spurs goggles. There are a few from other teams as well that I think, actually they would be an ever-present in my team. But I don't want them for the first 3 game weeks, because I don't think that they're necessarily going to start in all of those games. I don't think that they're necessarily, even if they do start, that they'll be in the best place. We all know what Kane's like for August and all of that kind of stuff. So for me, to engineer Kane into my team basically means a wild card, because of the cost of him. If it may be that actually what happens after the first 3 game weeks is that my team are playing really well and I don't really want to make those wholesale changes, and then I won't play my wildcard, but that is my plan.
Okay, that's the plan. All right, very good. And we'll see obviously over the course of the first 3 weeks how things evolve. 3 weeks into season, we will clearly obviously have way more of a feel than we do right now, and even on August the 9th when the transfer window closes and we start getting going with the first game of the season, 3 weeks in we'll know far more about how the team's going to be set up. So I think that early wildcard is a pretty common and popular strategy, but
it was last year as well.
Yes, it was.
And that was in a non-World Cup year. I think its value at that point is more so this season because of the World Cup.
Okay,
that's just my opinion.
So let's say hello to a few people. So guys, we've got 87 people in already. So that is awesome.
We haven't.
87 people in. So guys, thank you very much for joining. That is really очень. Your mate Aid is here, so Lock On Kun is here.
Yeah, he had to come back because he got a lot of grief from me for not being here last week.
I think he came on Twitter to apologise to me actually for missing it. So Aid, thank you for joining.
He should have apologised. Very disappointing not to see him last week, but he has caught up. I am reliably informed he has caught up.
Very good. Alex Britchford is here. It's a new name, Alex. We've not heard from you before, so welcome. If it is your first stream, welcome to FPL Family. He's saying, breaking news, Willian to Barcelona for Chelsea, from Chelsea, 65 million quid.
What, has it happened? I heard
He's saying breaking news. I knew that it was pretty much going to happen.
I heard it was going to happen, yeah.
But then your mate Aid is saying actually he thinks that's a fake source. So listen, we will talk about Willian a bit later on and some of the transfer activity that's been going on, because some really significant transfers.
Oh, who wants to talk about transfer activity?
I would really love to talk about Alisson. You can tell by the smile on my face, I'm absolutely delighted that we've got one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
I just twiddle my thumbs during that point.
What an upgrade that is on Loris Karius. But don't feel sorry for him. He's useless. It's a real upgrade for us at the back. And one of the questions in the poll is about Liverpool defence. We'll come to that in a second. But not just the transfers that have happened, but the rumours as well. Some of the rumours knocking about who's coming and going. I mean, it feels like a bit of a potential exodus at Chelsea. I mean, we'll come to Chelsea in a bit, but, you know, Kante out, potentially Hazard out, the goalkeeper out, Morata to Milan, Willian going in, and they're being linked with Joe Hart. It's like Joe Hart coming in for all of them. Goodness me. So who knows what's going on at Chelsea? Well, and Vinyl Richie's here. So Richard, good evening. Richard's in, so we'll certainly get his take on that.
Chelsea resident.
Absolutely. So who else we got? Josh Telling is here. Robertson, the first name on my team sheet. Good man. I think you're absolutely right. I think there's a lot of people that are looking at Robertson now. I think I said on the last stream, I see him as the new Alonso this year. I think he could be very, very good. Micah McClatchy's here. Micah, thank you for joining. Michelle is here. Hey, Michelle, how you doing?
Hi, Michelle.
Karthik is here. Hey, Karthik. Dom J. Sidant is here. Gunners for Glory is here. So, Gunners, welcome. Lock Hong Kong, we've mentioned already. Aid is here. Leo is here. Hey, Leo, how are you? Now.
Oh, God, right, come on.
Now, this is very important. This is very important. I've been getting this guy's name wrong since we started these streams.
And he's here every week.
And he is here every single week. And I get his name wrong every single week. And I didn't even know. And then you said, this guy messaged you on Insta and said, looking forward to Lee getting my name wrong for the whole season again. And I just felt really, really bad. I felt really, really bad.
So come on.
So I'm hoping it's pronounced Rishab. I'm hoping it's pronounced Rishab. So Rishab, please forgive me. I spent the whole of last season saying your name completely wrong, and that's really, really bad form from my part. So Rishab, welcome. If I get it wrong again,
you will be called Rishba probably later on in this stream.
I just get in a flow, and I probably will go back to Rishba, but I'm pretty sure it's Rishab. So Rishab, thank you for joining again, and I really apologise for getting your name wrong for so many weeks. It's really, really bad. El Stato is here. El Stato, good evening. Hope you're well. Hope the little guy's all right. Who else have we got here? Let's have a look. Josh, we've said hi to. Andy from Let's Talk FPL is here. Andy, how you doing? Simon Jones is here. Who else have we got? Max Bahrain is here. Max, good evening. How are you? Joe Finley Butter, Mr. FB is in. Jamal Rice is in. And who else have we got? Let's see. Andrew Yee is here. How you doing, Andrew? Neil Craston, Dan C, Tom Sheehan, Amwinit, as usual, week in, week out. Mr. Amwinit, thank you very much, sir, for joining us. And a whole host of other people. 98 people watching. 98 people, guys. You are very, very welcome, and thank you for joining us.
I am baffled.
Season 2, Episode 2 of FPL Family. We need to just have a quick look at the polls before we move on. I'm going to come to you first.
Where's Jeff?
I'm sure Jeff is in. I'm sure he absolutely is.
Because he's normally. It's reminded me because you said let's look at the polls. It's normally Jeff that shouts out polls.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So So I'm going to come to you in a second to talk about your team, how much you're tinkering, who's caught your eye in the last couple of weeks, transfers, move, everything, right? And I want to hear from you guys as well. We haven't really got. I've not done a lot of tinkering. You've not done a lot of tinkering. We've obviously kept our eye on Sky Sports News and who's coming in and out. But we want to hear from you guys. Who are you guys getting in? Is Richarlison now an option if he goes to Everton? Is Martial now an option, given that Mourinho's come out and said he's going to start with him up top potentially for this season? If he goes to Chelsea, which is being rumoured, is he then a better option, a worse option? We need to talk about that, right?
He's still being linked with Spurs, isn't he, with Toby going the other way?
It sort of feels like there's some smoke there, and the fire could be that he's going. I don't know. I personally think he's a very, very good player and was wasting a bit last year, so I'm really intrigued to see where he goes. The polls, we must do the polls before we go on. The polls. We have 3 questions tonight. These were given to me via the community on Twitter, so thank you for you guys that submitted these. Very, very straightforward. Budget mids, budget forwards, and then Liverpool defence. So clearly the Liverpool defence is a bit topical. It's a bit self-indulgent as well on my part. Now that Liverpool have signed Alisson, does that make Liverpool defenders a better option? I mean, I think the answer is yes. So therefore on the poll I'm saying, well, how many Liverpool defenders are you going for? 1, 2 or 3? 3's overkill, I think.
Who's going to have 3 Liverpool defenders?
Well, if you could guarantee 18 points every week, wouldn't you?
Well, no, because Salah could get that on his own.
Well, so listen, that's the poll. 1, 2 or 3. Budget forwards, the 5 that I've picked out, and you guys tell me in the live chat if I've missed any glaring ones. I probably have. Budget forwards, Tosun at 6.5, Zaha at 7, Arnautovic at 7, Wood at 6.5, or Sorloth at 5. And I want to get your view on Sorloth and Crystal Palace in general later on, and maybe Jamal can come up and give his opinion on what's going on at Palace. But some really, really intriguing options come in at some of the Palace friendlies, and Sorloth is one of those in my opinion. Budget midfielders, I've kind of tried to stick to the 5.0 bracket. The 4.5s, there's a couple in there like Stevens, but I'm not massively convinced on Stevens. And then if you go up into the sort of 6.5s, they could be a whole category on their own.
Oh, massive,
A whole category. So for the 5.0 midfielders, who's the best 5.0 midfielder? Kearney from Fulham, 5.0. Ruben Neves from Wolves. Jack Wilshere, Jorginho or Kennedy. Who out of those 5 is the best 5.0 midfielder? Because I think your 5th midfielder is probably going to be one of those guys. I think. But tell me if I've missed anybody glaring. So those are the polls, guys. So if you look up here, I think, isn't it? Top corner of the thing. Click on the little eye. The 3 questions will come down. Vote for your favourites, and we will review it at the end if I remember, which is unlikely. But shout out polls, and I will do it.
I'll write polls.
So one more thing, before we actually get on with what we're supposed to be here to do, which is talk FPL. We're going to do some Premier League predictions tonight as well. Some Premier League predictions. So we've got all this ready, guys. So you can see. I need to go to OBS so that I can see what I'm doing here. So here we go. Look. So we've got some Lee's Premier League predictions. And what I've done is, and I've sealed the envelope. So what I've done is I've put in here who I think is going to be in the top 4, who I think is going to be in the bottom 3, and who I think is going to get the golden boot.
You should write over that line because you could easily reopen that.
Oh, do you not trust me?
No. There you go.
So there you go. So there's the, I don't know, it's the equivalent of putting, from ye olden days, the kind of wax stamp on it. It's that sort of equivalent, isn't it?
Yeah, because I don't trust you not to cheat.
You don't trust me not to cheat? Wonderful, okay.
Yeah. I mean, the things he said today about... I mean, we're not going to tell each other what we're predicting, but the things he said have massively upset me today.
What, because I said it might not have Spurs in the top 4?
No, because you said, I'm going to put Spurs as getting relegated.
Right. So I put my predictions for the Premier League in here. And by the way, next week or in a couple of weeks when we do season preview 3.0, we're going to talk about FPL Team of the Year. We're going to do a prediction on that too. That envelope is going to stay sealed for the next season. We're going to open that on mid-May, okay? So we're going to put that behind us. That is going to go...
Do you want to put it in my FPL book?
On the window. I've put it on the window. It's there. It's going to stay there for however
many
weeks.
One of the kids is definitely going to have that away.
One of the kids or the cat is going to rip that up for sure. What we're going to do... why don't we do it now? Do you want to do it now or do you want to talk FPL first? We do need to talk FPL at some stage. Towards the end, I'm going to get you to write your top 4, your bottom 3, your golden boot. We're going to put it in this envelope that says Premier League prediction, Sam. That's going to go in there. And then... we're going to come to the community. We're going to ask you guys who you think your top 4, top 3 and golden boot are going to be in the Premier League. And we're going to kind of take a general consensus, right? So for golden boot, I'm going to say, first to 3, that person will pick for golden boot. Top 4, I'll take a look at a snapshot of the live stream and we'll get a community in-law feel as to who's top 3 and bottom 4. I've got my piece of paper ready. It's all there. So we're going to fill that out, guys, towards the end. We're going to put it in an envelope so you guys will know what you've predicted. They won't know what we've predicted, and then we're going to have a look at that in May. So
if I get more right than you, what's my reward?
There's no reward. There's just pride at stake, right? It's just pride, right?
Just pride.
So we're going to do that a bit later on. I want to talk about FPL because that is what we're here to do.
That is what we're supposed to do.
How is your team looking? You're saying you're not tinkering a lot. I personally am not tinkering a lot either. What's your team looking like? And while you're doing that, I'm going to bring it up on the screen.
It's not so much that I'm thinking about it a lot. That I've had a lot of thoughts, and the notebook has gone into overtime this week. My feeling at the beginning of the season, when Salah was first announced at the price that he is, was no, I can't have Salah. He's just too expensive. I can't have the other players that I want if I do.
Not in your current draft, by the way,
no.
According to what's on screen.
So basically then what has happened is over the last week or so, his ownership in the game is increasing every week. And I kind of now feel that to not have Salah at the start of the season is almost FPL suicide. Because if he starts the season in the same way that he ended last season... I'll just never catch up. And I don't want to start my season chasing and knowing that, even if I'm playing the wildcard in game week 3, I just don't want that element of risk.
I mean, Karthik is saying Salah is a must-have.
Yeah, I think so.
Who else we got here? Amunik, good luck without Salah. Ibrahim, Sam, you got to have him. Etc. etc. So Felix is saying you need to start tinkering.
No, but
these are just drafts, guys.
No, so you can't. There you go. See, look in here.
It's way more in depth in here, guys.
There you
Trust
go.
me.
There he is.
He's
so
there.
he is.
Okay.
He is, and he will be in my team come game week 1. What I haven't yet worked out, and the reason why he's not in there at the moment is because my plan at the moment, as you'll see from my team on the screen, is that there's a lot of heavy hitters in defence. Some of them will get downgraded to free up the money that I need to get Salah.
Some good picks in there. Van Arnold, I really like.
Yeah, well, do you know I've got Van Arnold because I'm in his little league that he set up.
Oh, he's really into FPL this year, isn't he? He's got a League of Doing Bits, isn't he?
He's got his Do Bits league.
Yeah,
So I've joined his Do Bits
league.
League of Doing Bits or whatever it's called. So I've joined that. So I put him in. But so I need to kind of work out which of my defensive options I'm not going to start with. Now, obviously, Trippier and Maguire, both long time at the World Cup, probably both not necessarily going to be there.
You're going to switch those guys out before game week 1, right?
Yeah, but what I haven't yet decided is who for, if that makes sense. So I can't just get Salah in this draft because that means I've got to kind of tinker with other players, and I haven't yet decided where I'm going. So that's where my notebook comes into play. I just start writing stuff down. So yeah, for me, I think it becomes a question of which teams for those first 3 weeks am I most keen on. City, obviously, I think are fairly essential.
Fixtures look sensational, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, Liverpool I think are fairly essential. But then I've already got Firmino and I will be having Salah, so that kind of is okay. I don't know what to do about a Liverpool defence. We can come to that later.
You think you're Firmino and Salah right now? Doubling up on Liverpool attack?
That's my plan at the moment.
Yeah, okay, all right.
A lot of people on Instagram asking me why Aguero over Aubameyang. And the reason for that is purely fixtures. Aubameyang, I think, has had so far. He ended the season well. His pre-season has started really well, and he does seem to be a really good fantasy pick.
More than that, I think he's a sensational fantasy pick.
But the Arsenal fixtures in game week 1 and 2, City, Chelsea, not easy.
But my view on that is that there's surely no better time to play those teams than game week 1 and 2. I mean, if you're going to play City, you'd want them game week 1 where anything can happen, right? You've got to think that City are going to be prepared and it's a tough game. Of course it is.
Yeah.
But Otamendi, potentials at the World Cup. You've got to think about that defence. Ederson didn't really play a lot of minutes, but he was kind of at the World Cup too.
I just think for me, knowing my plan is for a wild card, it feels like that is the right time to invest in Arsenal because post game week 2, the fixtures get really nice. So I'm kind of thinking, you know, I don't see a lot of difference between Aguero and Aubameyang for those opening bits, apart from the fixtures are slightly nicer for City than they are for Arsenal. So that's why I've done that. I can have them both, but if I do, I can't have Salah. So, you know.
FPL today saying Otamendi, Stones, Company, all at the World Cup. Yeah. Aubameyang can absolutely score against that defence. And 100%. If you look at this, so the second game is then Chelsea.
Yeah.
And Chelsea, I mean, they're a bit of disarray right now with players leading left, right and centre. So Aubameyang can absolutely get goals in those first 2. I wouldn't worry about those fixtures at all.
Totally. I just feel like there isn't a bad... Look, it's Aubameyang or Aguero. There's not a bad choice there.
No, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
But it is, as it is every season, the first pick of a team, it's really difficult because you just don't know how they're going to hit the ground. So you take pre-season as a good cursor for that. Now, obviously, we're not seeing anything yet from Aguero and City, so you know we'll see.
Well, again, FPL today is saying Aubameyang fully rested. I think you pronounce this Carry 256 is saying will Aguero start those? So
well, let's find out pre-season.
I mean, is there a little question mark potentially over the fact Aguero's at the World Cup? Aubameyang fully rested. I think you can make a really good case for either.
You can,
it's no doubt about it.
And I think for me, the fact that they are bang on the money means that you, up until you can watch the whole of pre-season, and actually, if come the 10th of August, I think actually Aubameyang is better as an option, then I just transfer him in at that point. That's the good thing about them, is that there's no movement around of other players. You can just swap them for each other and it's fine.
Rishab is actually saying, notice I said that
right.
Rishab is saying Aubameyang could be on the wing if Lacazette also plays. Give me your very quick take on Lacazette. Are we overlooking Lacazette? Because it seems to be, if you're going for an Arsenal attacker, you go Aubameyang, clearly. Looks as if he could be on penalties as well, so there's another reason to have him. Plus, you know, just looks like a brilliant player. And then if you want to look at midfield, you're looking at Mickey and Ramsey and people like that. Not a lot of love for Lacazette out there in the community. Do you feel like he's going a bit under the radar potentially?
Yeah.
Yeah, and with those first couple of fixtures being difficult, as you say, if you're going to invest, you want the slightly less risk. Is it less risky to go Aubameyang over Lacazette?
I think it is. Isn't it? Yeah. There's that. What is it we say that they're kind of reassuringly expensive thing going on with Aubameyang and Aguero and those sorts of players, and I think Lacazette potentially, yes, he is being massively overlooked. The good thing about that is that there's less chance of him shooting up in value over the course of those first few game weeks. So hopefully he's one of those that post Arsenal's, as they get a bit further into the season when their fixtures are really nice, that's a point where actually Lacazette is a good option because he's that much cheaper and therefore is a good option for a third striker too. Okay.
Bit of talk about Arsenal then, which is good. We did just mention Patrick Van Aanholt there, and I noticed Jamal Rice and a couple of guys coming on the live stream saying, this guy needs looking at PVA. I mean, he's 5'5", so it's not as if he's on the cheap side, and we already talked in the previous stream about the fact there are a whole host, there's a wealth of 4.5 talent out there that you can pick on in FPL this year. Yeah. However, if you can find the money for a Van Aanholt over a Tompkins, say, for 4.5, do you think he's worth the extra million? And the other question that I put in there as a kind of sub-question is, Wan-Bissaka, he's a 4.0, I think he's a right back, might be left, I think he's right back. I kind of assumed that because Ward signed a new contract recently, didn't he? I assumed that he would be their go-to right back. However, Hodgson has now played Wan-Bissaka a few times in pre-season friendlies. He's actually looked pretty good. The feel I've got from the Twitter community, including Jamal, is that actually the fans are kind of looking for Hodgson to play Wan-Bissaka. I think there's a bit of belief there from the fans, a bit of support.
Okay.
So what's your view on Patrick Van Aanholt versus the other two options? Tompkins at 4.5 and then Wan-Bissaka at 4.0. I mean, that is bargain territory, is it not?
Well, there's another one which we can talk about that Aid was talking to me about before we came on a minute ago. Different clubs, so we'll go there in a minute. But sticking with Palace for a moment, I think Van Aanholt. Now, you are entirely right with what you've said, and I, like I was telling you before, I was getting a lot of grief, and most of the grief I was getting about this team that you can see at the moment was because of the defence and how much money I'd spent on it. Now, there's two ways to look at it, isn't there? I do understand that the forwards are quite a lot more expensive in a lot of areas this year. So the money that you need to invest in them is that much greater, which means that you've got less to spend at the back. However, for me, with players like Van Aanholt and Trippier and Robertson put into that category as well, they're worth a little bit more money because there's a potential for a forward return as well as that clean sheet.
So let me ask you another question. So Vinyl Richie, quite right, is saying, I've got that wrong there. Really, what I should be doing is comparing PVA to the other 5.5s in the game, which is the Trippiers and the people that you mentioned. So do you think Patrick Van Aanholt is, rightly up there with the other 5.5s, or do you feel he's a little bit overpriced? I mean, I must admit, you look at his performances towards the end of last season, and his performances in pre-season so far. He's, even he tweeted, "I've picked up where I've left off." So he clearly got the mentality of an attacking wing back. That's his mindset. Yeah. So I think that he thinks he's got a big role to play going forward this year.
I don't think he's overpriced because if you look at the players around him, Harry Maguire, for example, exactly the same price. They're the same. It's the same impact in theory that you should get from, in a different way, granted. But the attacking potentials from them are the same, different, but the same. So why would he be less just because he's playing for Palace or because what?
Because Palace won't get as many clean sheets as like a Spurs or a United by his 5.5, right?
Yeah, but the Spurs players are more expensive. They're 0.5 more. They're all 6.
Actually, having said that, I think somebody did say Trippier is actually 6.
6. All the Spurs defenders are 6. So you want a Spurs defender, you've got to pay 6 million for them. Van Aanholt is 0.5 cheaper. So yes, he's not going to get you as many clean sheets as a Tottenham defender is, but I do think that there's real forward, and you all know that I really value my attacking defensive. That's why I spent so much on Alonso last season.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for me, I don't mind spending a bit more on my defensive unit if I think that there's the opportunity that they are going to get me forward movement as well as clean sheets. Now, Palace, they weren't bad defensively last year.
No, not at all. Especially, you know, in the Hodgson era. Absolutely, yeah.
So, you know, I'm a little bit uncomfortable with having that much invested in my defence, but I look at them and think, that's not a bad defence.
Okay, all right. Let's see what you guys are saying. So Shashank is saying Palace with Sacco is a real prospect for clean sheets. I'm with you on that, actually, Shashank. I think he really gives them something. I liked him when he was at Liverpool, actually, Sacco, and he's been a bit unlucky with injuries and what have you, but I do like that Palace back line with him in there. Josh is saying the same thing. Sacco, another favourite of mine. So potentially with Sacco in there, shores them up even more, and maybe PVA is worth the 5.5 for clean sheets as well as attacking threat. Michelle Wong is saying, Michelle, good evening, thank you for joining us. She's saying, thinking about going for an Arsenal defender after game week 3. Okay, absolutely.
After game week 3.
Karthik is saying Kolasinac at 5.0. Yeah, I mean, again, that's one of those where if in pre-season we get a feel that Unai Emery likes Kolasinac at 5.0, then absolutely. But right now, we don't know.
And at the moment, neither him nor Monreal have been playing, so it's impossible to tell which one Emery's going to go for. Okay,
and Michelle is saying Kolasinac indeed has lost a lot of weight. Apparently, he's been working on his sprints. He scored and assisted last season. I'm interested to see. I haven't seen that personally, but I'd really like to see that.
There was a photograph of him looking.
He's looking leaner, is he?
Much leaner.
Is he? Okay, all right. There's a few players doing that. I mean, another I'd like your opinion on is Luke Shaw. Right, so Luke Shaw again in a very similar fashion to Kolasinac by the sounds of it. He looks leaner. He looks more ready. He's got a bit more of a six-pack. You know, he on his Twitter, he's looking like he's ready for the season. And frankly, you know, Ashley Young's got to have probably a bit of a break after the World Cup. Mourinho has come out and said, you know, the back four, I've not just I'm probably going to start with, but he's got to start with because frankly he hasn't got much else to work with. Is a back four that includes Luke Shaw. Now at 5.0 in the game, which I think he is that a really nice route into that Man United back line, or is Shaw just a transfer waiting to happen? Because you know, as soon as Young comes back, he gets binned and you've got to get him out.
And this is where it goes back to your strategy, right?
Yeah.
So if you've got a strategy and you're thinking the same way that I am, and that you're gonna aim for that early wild card and international break, absolutely, Luke Shaw. Why not? Why on earth?
For 3 weeks, no Ashley Young probably.
Why not?
Get him in. Yeah.
But if you're not planning to play your wild card, then he is a transfer waiting to happen, and therefore at some point you're going to have to use your transfer dealing with that, and it depends whether you're comfortable with that. Okay. So if you're 100% wildcard after in the international break, then why not? Okay. So the player I was going to mention before, so Aid was talking to me just before we came on, and he came up and he said, because he was one that was involved in my the constant chatter about my defence last night. Ryan Bennett at Wolves.
Oh yes, another 4.0 potential. Yeah.
So I had a little look at him because I'd mentioned him a couple of times, and to be fair, the first time I'd mentioned him, I basically just ignored him. And then he mentioned him again to me a minute ago, and I was like, right, I'll have a look. So I had a little look at him, and actually, if you look, so I think I didn't write it down. He played, I think, 29 games last season for Wolves in the Championship and a couple in the Cup. But when you look at the breakdown of where those games were that he played, from October time onwards, he barely missed a fixture. He was playing week in, week out.
Because of an injury or because he was in favour?
In favour, I think.
Right.
So he missed some games in September and October. Wolves fans, if we've got any of you in, but he does seem to be a first choice starting central defender for Wolves. So he's worth watching because at 4 million, that is a huge. It's like the Mbemba of last season, right? When he played. Yeah. If he's going to play every game, that's ideal.
Well, him and Wan-Bissaka, you've got to any starting regularly starting 4.0s. You just jump on it, don't you? Because your fifth defender really is a bit of a bench fodder slot, really. And if you've got a 4.0 that plays or even sometimes plays, he's worth looking at.
I totally agree. Good. It's worth watching. Good.
So let's take a quick kind of break there before we go to sort of the midfielders and the forwards, because we've done a lot of talk about defenders there. But I don't think that's a bad thing. There's a lot of value. There's a lot of talking points there amongst those defenders. Any other defenders that are catching your eye? Anybody else that you think you want to get?
Well, I've talked about Shaw Morrison before. And I still think he's a really good defensive option. Again, because he's got forward potential in this, as well as the defensive stuff. So.
Okay. So I've just changed the screen to my team. Actually, my defence is looking pretty different to yours in reality, although I guess your defence will change by game week 1. I've gone Liverpool at the back, of course, because I just genuinely think we'll be a lot tighter. We were certainly a lot tighter when Van Dijk come in. Alisson coming is only going to help that, I think. And I'm a big fan of Robertson, so I think he's going to have a good season. Cedric, I'm kind of up for potentially changing that. I don't think it's an amazing pick, but with the signings that Southampton are making, it appears, and I haven't seen them in pre-season, I've got to watch them, but it appears that he might be going 3 at the back with some wing-backs. Now, Southampton haven't got an amazing clean sheet record, but if Cedric's in a wing-back position and getting forward and has got licence to move forward, I think he's a good pick.
He's on my bit of paper here, look.
I think that's absolutely right. Absolutely right. And then Coleman as well. This, again, is a funny one for me because a lot of people are saying I'm too heavily invested in Everton. And by the way, the Richarlison pick in the middle of the pitch there is on the assumption that he goes to Everton. If he stays at Watford, I'm not going to pick him. It'll probably be Walcott. But Richarlison's in there for me if he goes to Everton. And I think, people on Twitter are saying, you're going too heavy on Everton.
Are we expecting that move, the Richarlison to Everton?
It looks on. It looks on. Yeah, I mean, he wants to be... I think both he and Silva want to be reunited. Okay. I think Watford are looking at it, and I don't think Watford have ever had 50 million quid for a player, ever. I mean, it's absolutely bonkers money.
Yeah.
But clearly, Silva sees something in this kid that can get him going. And if you look at I think it was FPL Prince actually put on Twitter the other day, the stats of Richarlison playing under Silva when he was at Watford, and then the stats once Silva left. And there was an absolute marked drop-off. He really, really dropped off as soon as Silva left. Now, of course, there'll be other factors. He was fatigued. He's coming off the back of a full season in Brazil, etc., etc. Lockhon Kun is saying, Richarlison medical tomorrow for 40, not 50. Okay, well, 40 is still a lot of money for a club like Watford. I mean, goodness me, they will never have got 40 for a player ever. So
I mean, I've got to be honest.
Very, very good.
Everton, I've basically ignored when I've looked at FPL.
You see, I think that's a real big mistake because I genuinely think
this is from the Liverpool fan as well.
Well, listen, one of my key learning points from last season is play FPL back with your head, not with your heart. And despite me being a red, of course, I think Everton are going to have a good start to the season. I think Silva's going to get him going early.
Okay.
I really rate him as a manager. I think he's a really good manager.
They've started pre-season well, so...
They have, and I think one of the things that I particularly like about Silva is that he's come in and he's seen where the problems are and he's taken steps to resolve it. I mean, he's bringing in a bit of creativity and pace in Richarlison. Well, they need that, don't they?
Oh, right,
one of the first things he did was bin off Rooney. Now, but listen, I mean, it doesn't take a genius. You look at some of the highlights and some of the Everton matches last year. Rooney was a massive hindrance for that side. Massive hindrance. Not least because the manager at the time, who I forget, can't even think who the manager was, but struggling to find a place for Sigurdsson in that team. Well, now that Rooney's gone, my view is that Siggy will make that number 10 role his own, and we could see the Siggy of old.
Oh, well, that would be lovely. Because...
I think we absolutely could. And he's one that I've got on my radar. I think...
How much is he?
I think he's 7'5". I think he's 7'5", so he's in that Ramsey bracket.
Funny bracket, that.
But, if he can get to where he was a couple of seasons ago, he's 100% worth 7'5". He was up in the 9 millions, wasn't he, for a while? So listen, he's definitely one to have a look at. You're going to have Coleman and Baines and everybody else bombing on in Silva's new attacking mentality. Tosun's going to be the main man up front. Richarlison, Balassi, Walcott, pace around, in and around. I think we're going to see good things from Everton. And they've got the fixtures to start the season in a good way. So
I'm yet to be convinced of this.
Yeah, well, take a look at Everton.
All right,
I think
I'll
Everton
have a look. But
should be on the radar.
I'm not convinced.
Should be on the radar.
I'll have a look.
Michelle Wong is saying Walcott an option for 6.5. Absolutely. I'm really interested to see how Richarlison coming in affects Walcott.
Yeah.
And how that might work. But again, we've got to see that in pre-season. But at the moment, Richarlison and Walcott are both 6.5. So if you were going to go for one, I think you'd go for Richarlison on the basis that they ain't going to spend 40 million on a player and not play him.
No, sorry, I'm really hot.
So it's very hot. It's very hot in the UK. It's really, really hot.
Oh, dying.
So that's my team as it looks at the minute. Just to finish up on the defenders, I've gone for the rotating goalkeeper pair, as you guys can see. I'm not set on that. That could change. I like Leno from Arsenal for 5 million. I quite like Alisson and Ederson at 5.5, and then just get a 4.0 bench fodder. But at the moment, the Foster and Fabianski rotation looks okay to me. So that's defenders. Let's move on to... do you want to go into midfield? Have a look at midfield?
Yeah, okay.
Who's catching your eye in midfield? Let's go back to your team and see who you've got. I mean, it'd be reasonably brief on this. So let's...
You want me to be brief?
I know. Well, we're at 45 minutes already, so talk me through your midfield. There's some interesting picks in there. Kearney in particular, what do you like about Kearney?
Really, he's going to be there game week 1.
You think so?
He's not going anywhere.
I think he's pretty locked in for me too, yeah.
Really happy with him as an option. I feel like as far as Fulham go, he's a good asset within that Fulham team. He's cheap enough that he's enabling the other picks that I need to have, as well as giving potential returns on that cheap money. Now, I know that out of Tom Kearney, I'm unlikely to get the same returns as I would from a 7.5 midfielder, but I don't expect that because he's not priced in that bracket, so that's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's going to definitely be an ever-present, I think.
Do you know what I like about him? And to be honest, I didn't know much more about him other than he scored the goal in the playoff final last year that got him up, didn't he? So he's clearly a bit of a fan's favourite from that perspective. But I looked at some of his stats from last year and his average heat maps, and he's obvious, isn't it? But he's a midfielder. Didn't strike me as a sort of an attacking midfielder. He was getting forward a little bit, but not ultra attacking. But he did get a lot of goals and assists even in that position. Now, what's changed this year is that Fulham have signed, I think you pronounce his name Seri, Jean-Michel Seri, or worse to that effect, who, is very much a defensive-minded midfielder. Now, I think the availability and the option of putting Seri in there is going to give Kearney even more licence to go forward. Yeah. And his heat map is going to start pushing up that field. I think he is a sensational pick at 5.
Yeah, 6 goals, 5 assists last season. Great header of the ball. So from set pieces, you're going to see him up there. Yeah, I just think that there is real potential from Tom Kearney this season. And like you say, at the price point that he is, definitely, in my eyes, worth a pump.
Absolutely. So Kearney we like. Talk to me about the rest of your midfield. So if you're going to go with a City midfielder, which I think most people are, there's no way in hell that De Bruyne is a bad pick other than he's coming back from the World Cup, etc., etc. So is he another one of your placeholder ones in there?
So De Gea, I don't know where that's come from. KDB is going to go for Salah. So that's where I need to get my 3 mil from. I've got 1 in the bank at the moment. I've got to get my other 2 to get to Salah.
Who's your Man City midfielder of choice then?
I don't know.
Welcome to the Pep Lottery again.
And I don't know, I was talking to somebody on Instagram yesterday. Can't remember who it was now. And I was like, I actually don't know what to do about City midfielders. That is my big stumbling block with this team, because you look at them and it's like KDB, Sterling, Silva, Mahrez, Sané,
Bernardo Silva,
Gundogan,
etc.
And then Jesus and Aguero. How is he going to play all of these players? Like, he can't, can he? So there's going to be rotation in the mid. There has to be rotation in the mid. So it's working out who is going to get game time. And I just don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know. And people keep asking me who's going to play for City. And I feel like I don't know. I just have to keep doing the little emoji with the little girl with her hands up, because I just don't know.
So for me, as you guys can see, I'm going David Silva. And actually, so Eric, thank you for joining. He's saying Silva is nailed on when he plays.
And I think...
And Hannah is saying surely Silva has to play against Arsenal. So for me... I think he's nailed. I think he's the one that keeps that team ticking over.
I agree with you.
What makes it the thing that makes it difficult for me to pick him is that, and I said this on Twitter the other day, it's very difficult to flex up from Silva to Mahrez to KDB to Sané to...
You'd never get to Sterling.
You never get to Sterling, exactly. So you're kind of like, if one of those guys hits form, it's surgery then again. It's a points hit to get from Silva to one of those guys. If you start the season one of those guys and actually Silva starts smashing it, then obviously it's easy to drop back down. So the Silva pick for me is a risk.
The thing is with Silva, I think he's priced lower this season because of all the personal stuff that kept him away last season. Now, as far as I can tell, that personal stuff, the baby is okay now.
I think that's cool. I think that's all
settled,
cleared up.
And I think we should see David Silva just back in City, full stop. So then you like you say, you're totally right. It's like, to get from Silva up to Mahrez, that's fine, but I'm not sure. I'm just not sure.
I think, and a few of you guys are saying, I mean, Greg's absolutely is saying, good evening, how are you? He's saying he thought Pep had already said that he can't play every game anymore. I think that's true. I think I've read that Pep is saying he needs to start managing his time.
Silva?
For David Silva,
yeah.
I mean, he's, you guys can tell me, 31, 32.
Excuse me, that's not old.
That is absolutely not old. No, you're absolutely right. In footballing terms, however, and in a Man City midfield where they are looking to win the league, don't look at me like that.
I mean, you've already called Rooney old, and he's like a day older than me.
He is long gone, Rooney.
He's a day older than me.
His legs are well gone.
A day younger than me.
His legs are well gone. But for someone like Silva, who is in that 32 age bracket, is Pep right to be bringing in someone like... I mean, so here's a question. Is Mahrez the heir to the throne? Is he the heir to the Silva throne?
Don't ask me, I don't know. I don't know.
The guys are tuning in for some, at least opinion, if not fact.
My opinion is this.
I'm sure I've got deja vu. We had this every week with Pep's midfield. It's like, I don't know what to do.
Because I think by the end of the season, basically what happened is that there was always a striker, or somebody was always injured or away. Like Silva was always in Spain, or Aguero had a car accident, or Jesus was injured. So like it became fairly settled, didn't it, in that midfield? And you knew that probably Sterling, Sané, and KDB were going to play every week, and that was fine. But I can't even guarantee that now. Now, for me, the one I would really like is Sterling. But I just...
he's overpriced.
I just cannot get there.
He's too much money.
There's no way to get there unless you don't have Salah. But that is suicide. So, Sané, I think, is the...
If you had to pick one right now...
Sané. Because I think he'll play.
He 100% will play.
So, that's why I'd go with him.
Okay.
Because I'm going to get game time out of him. But I'm not actually sure I'm going to have a City midfielder.
Okay, no doubt a popular pick. Lots more I could talk about in either of our teams. I want to talk about Jota as well in a second. I'd like your thoughts on Martial, Anthony Martial. So right now, a Man United player.
Yeah.
7.5 in the game.
Yeah.
Nice price point.
Yeah.
Sidelined a bit by Mourinho last season, to say the least. Pushed out a bit. Spent too much time on the bench, in my opinion, for a player of his quality.
Yeah.
And he's undoubted quality, in my opinion. Bit of pace, bit of strength, been in the Premier League, experienced now, but still young. 7.5. United are going to start the season with him. Jose's come out and said, I'm going to start with this guy up front.
If he's there.
And this is the question I want to ask you. So, what do you think of Martial? Good option or bad option at United, and then good option or bad option, or even better at Chelsea? What's your thoughts on Martial?
Well, don't write Tottenham out of that either yet.
Are you in for Martial as well?
Well, he was rumoured to be in a swap for Toby.
Okay.
Now, that seems to have died a death at the moment because Toby started saying nice things about us again. So, let's see on that. But I think, so I've got two views on this. I think Martial is a good pick at Man United, given what he said. I think he's a good pick for certainly the start of the season. Do I think he's a better pick at Chelsea? My honest opinion is, and sorry Richard, Chelsea scare me as an FPL entity at the moment because I think the manager is good. Like the new manager, everything I see from him, the things he says in his press conferences,
he does come across
really well. And I looked at him and thought, do you know what? You're a decent manager. You know what you're doing. You're just interested in the players you've got and sorting out the mess that is what's gone on at Chelsea over the last few weeks and months. But if Martial goes to Chelsea, I don't think he becomes a less good fantasy asset. But I do think that it depends what happens with the likes of Hazard and Willian, because if
it totally depends what happens to Hazard. I can't see him signing them if Hazard stays, but it feels as if Hazard is on his way out.
But without those players and what they bring to Chelsea, are the other Chelsea assets less valuable?
I see. So if the team gets decimated in the way that's kind of being reported right now,
because the
fact that Martial comes in is neither here nor there because the players he's got to play with are guff.
Yeah, because the guy can be as good as he is, and he is a good player. I'm absolutely not questioning that. But in that Man United team, he's playing alongside the likes of Sanchez and Pogba and Lukaku, and some really, really top quality players. At Chelsea, if they start losing Hazard and Willian,
okay. All right, I want to go to the chat because there's some really great points coming in from you guys. So Vinyl Richard is saying, don't pick Chelsea players until the window is closed. If even then, so I think he's saying, wait for the window to close, and even then,
Chelsea fan.
And even then, potentially not. Micah McClatchy saying, what's up with Pedro? I mean, not getting a lot of love in the FPL community, Pedro, from what I've seen, but he's 6'5" in the game, as far as I'm aware. Could he be that one in the middle where Kante and Jorginho sit and Pedro goes forward? I don't know. We haven't really got time to discuss that. Rishab is saying Hazard is not leaving, so he's pretty sure about that.
Is that wishful thinking or is that news?
I don't know. I don't think it's news. I think it's still up in the air. That will go till the death, that one. Andy Golf Pro is saying, easy to go from Martial to Rambo, Mkhitaryan, Siggy if he doesn't fire or gets dropped.
That's very true.
That's a nice point there, actually, Andy. The fact that if you do go Martial and actually it doesn't work out, there's a move to several different decent options there. And there's a couple of 6.5 options as well if you wanted to save a bit of money. So I do like that's a good point.
That is a really good point.
I like that. Let's see. Tom Mason is saying, Tom, thank you for joining. He's saying, yes, he will unless we sign another striker. So I think he's saying...
that's the United
fan? No, that's actually a response to Hannah saying, is Austin starting for you? It's a Southampton question. We've gone off-piste. Don't throw us like that, Tom. Let's see. So Jeff is saying, Jeff, good evening. How are you, mate? How are you? He's saying, apparently Martial being chased by 3 top clubs.
Yes.
Grapevine news. So
Tottenham and Chelsea. I don't know the other one.
He said 3 top clubs, though. So
look,
Chelsea...
stop it. So honestly...
That was too easy, that was. What else were we saying about Martial?
I'm putting in the bottom 3 when I do my predictions.
Shashank is saying, getting Martial is risky. Let's say Mourinho drops him after his bad first game. And Mourinho has absolutely got a history of binning players off, so you do need to look out for that. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. So Martial, I think we're saying, and of all the points there, I really like Andy's point there. About, if you go in and it doesn't work out, that you're only a transfer away from somebody half decent. I quite like that. And on that basis, I think Martial's a good pick. Last of the midfielders, then we've got to quickly rattle through the forwards. Jota. So Diego Jota from Wolves, 6.5. Been doing a bit of reading about this guy and been following a couple of Twitter accounts that are Wolves fans. Played up front in a friendly, played in the number 9 position in a friendly, I think yesterday, maybe the day before. Good track record in the Championship. I think he's got real good potential. Real good potential. He's at a nice price point in terms of if it doesn't work out, same as Andy was saying before, could you move to another 6'5"? I think you can. You've got the Richarlisons, you've got the Walcotts and people like that. But I genuinely think he's going to be good. And one of the Twitter accounts that I do follow, which is FPL so a lot of you guys would have heard of FPL I think it's at FPL_fly. It might not have an underscore. Check him out. He's on my list of people that I follow.
Yeah.
Big Wolves fan. Big Wolves fan.
Okay.
And he put a tweet out there, and it kind of went under the radar, the tweet. Didn't get a lot of likes or interactions, but he just said words to the effect of, Jota could be as good as Salah, and I'm not trolling. Now,
as good as Salah?
Now, Fly is a quality account to follow on Twitter, by the way, but he does like a bit of a P-take. So if he comes out with something, you kind of have to take it with a pinch of salt sometimes. There's not a lot of love for Liverpool, by the way. Not a lot of love for Liverpool. So you'd like it. You'd get on well with Fly very much. But for him to come out with a statement that says, and I'm not trolling, it made me think. And the way that he kind of put it, I thought, yeah, maybe there's something in this guy.
I really like him as a pick. I really like him as a pick. But my fear is that we were going to end up with the same midfield. So that's why I haven't picked him.
Me and you?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
I was having this conversation with Aid again yesterday. I just felt like the way things were going, we were both going to have Kearney, we'd both have Jota, we'd both have Salah. And before we knew it, we just basically have the same midfield.
Yeah. So Aid is saying, Lock-on Kun is saying, Jota played left wing today.
Yeah.
And I guess, there is a risker, no doubt, because they've bought Jimenez, I think, to play up front as well. The feedback I'm getting from the Wolves community is that actually Jota is just as dangerous wide as he is forward. Again, I still don't know who's on penalties for Wolves. I don't know that. I need to find that out. But Jota, I think he's a really nice pick. He's probably, of all the players I've picked there, probably the puntiest.
Okay.
But I do like him. Let's talk about forwards very, very quickly. As you guys can see, I'm going pretty heavy on forwards, except for Kamara, who's my bit of a bench fodder.
Aguero and Aubameyang.
But I've gone Aguero and Aubameyang. The reason I've gone with those two guys is that, at some stage, as you were saying, you will want Kane. I think you will want Kane at some stage.
Kane entry 1.0.
And you need to have, I think, you need to have your team, in my opinion, balanced in such a way where the 12.5 doesn't kind of come out the blue and shock you and it's a complete surgery to get in. Now, if you're early wildcarding, that's fair enough, but I'm still undecided on that. I'm not 100% early wildcarding. I'm going to see, obviously, how the first 3 weeks goes. So for me, I want to pile a bit of money into the front two. We've already discussed Aubameyang. I think he's nailed on. I just think he's going to have a fantastic season. I actually don't know whether Arsenal are going to have a great season or not, but I think Aubameyang is going to have a great season. Aguero, okay, he's played at the World Cup, but you look at those City fixtures, the alternative is he plays Jesus, who went even longer into the World Cup and played more minutes than Aguero. So who's he going to play up top? He's probably got to play Sergio. He's going to be on pens. It's Aguero. The fixtures look great. I just really wanted him in my team. So to get a team that's got Salah, Aguero and Aubameyang, obviously there's some compromises. There's some sacrifices you've got to make, but I'm really, really happy that I've got a team that seems reasonably balanced with those three.
They don't look bad to me.
So I'm very, very happy with those two up top. Talk to me about your forwards right now. So Zaha and Firmino. How set are you on those? Firmino sounds as if you're pretty set on Firmino.
Yeah, I love having Firmino in my fantasy
He's a great pick. He's a good pick. There's no doubt about it.
There's something reassuring about a fantasy team of mine with Firmino in it.
Do you think he plays game week 1 and 2? I mean, he was back late from the World Cup, but didn't really play at the World Cup. So do you think he'd be gagging to get going, or will Klopp give him a bit of break for game week 1 potentially?
See, I'm really undecided about this whole World Cup resting thing and whether it actually exists or not. And we will only know that towards the end of pre-season in terms of, the players that, whether they've made an impact in the latter part of the pre-season or not. Now, for me, like you say, Firmino, yes, he was at the World Cup for a while, but he wasn't playing game in, game out. He was coming on as, he was coming on as subs in the games. So he's not massively overexerted himself. So
Amonit is actually saying Firmino will play. Klopp has said that. So I've missed that. I don't miss too much on Liverpool, but Amonit, fair play. I have missed that. Klopp has said that he will play. And to be fair, you can see that. I mean, we don't need to discuss how important he is to the way that Liverpool sets up and how important he is to Mane and Firmino on either side of him, right? But if he's going to play, that is very, very good. Let's see. There's some other comments on here which were really, really good. I think it was Joe, actually. Joe. Firmino barely played. He'll be in starting in game week 1. Absolutely. There was another comment here about... so penalties. Neves, apparently. Some penalties for Wolves. Ruben Neves.
Right. Okay.
So at 5.0, that's why he's quite popular in the game. So Firmino, you seem pretty fixed on having him. That's good. Zaha at 7.0. I think a couple of the guys are pointing out that actually... could be on the move, indeed to Spurs, being linked to Spurs. So what's your thoughts on Zaha?
I'm not fixed on Zaha at the moment. Zaha, I think, is a good pick at Palace. I don't know. I just don't know, because in the same price bracket, you've also got Arnautovic, who... Mm-hmm.
3 and 2, as somebody pointed out here in his pre-season friendly so far.
Two yesterday, was it? He got 2. I have to lose track of days.
Looking very, very good indeed. Yeah.
And is looking really good. So he's another option. Zaha in a Spurs shirt though. Oh, I don't know. Like, the thing is,
what don't you know about that? No, I think that could be golden.
I'm not talking about from a Spurs point of view.
From an FPL perspective.
From an FPL point of view, because I'm already going to have... I need Kane, obviously. I want Eriksen and Trippier. So who am I not having to have Zaha? So if he comes to Spurs, that maximum of 3 from a team thing comes into play, and then you have to kind of make a decision. So for me, he's in there at the moment. I'm quite happy with him if he's at Palace. If he comes to us... I mean, that also means Sissoko's going, so...
I saw an interview with a Palace fan that was very happy to accept Sissoko coming into their club, and I just thought, what have you been watching, pal? But either way, I think, let's not talk about Zaha at Spurs, because it hasn't happened yet. It's only just a rumour. But Zaha at Palace for 7 million...
I think is a great
good pick. And you can't, he's a good pick, 7 million.
And I think that he and Arnautovic, whichever one you choose, they're a nice bracket to enable 2 really strong ones.
And some of the guys are talking about Tosun as well, same bracket, 7 million. We've already spoken about Everton. You don't fancy Everton by the sounds of it, which is it's unusual, I find.
I just don't know about Everton.
Okay, all right. All right. I think Tosun is a very, very good pick. And if I wasn't already investing in Coleman and Richarlison and looking at Walcott, I'd be looking at Tosun too. I think they're going to have a good season, or at least a good start. But Arnie and Tosun and Zaha all in that bracket look very, very good indeed. So who else have you got up front? Oh, you have got Aguero, third sub no less. Third sub. Very, very good. Very good. Any other forwards that are catching your eye? Anybody else out there?
We've already spoken about Aubameyang. I think he's obviously one to think about. The trouble is, I think a lot of the other heavy hitters, the likes of Kane and Lukaku, spent a long time at the World Cup.
Yes.
You know, Spurs have jetted off to America today on the pre-season tour, minus all of those players. Not Lukaku, obviously, because he's not a Spurs player, but minus Kane. He's been at the British Open today. So you've just got to wait and see. You know, and the other thing with Kane is it's August.
Yeah, I mean the forward line at the moment is actually where I've personally put the least amount of effort into my FPL tinkering. I've been tinkering mostly with defence actually, and a bit more in midfield in the last week or so. But the forwards, I'm pretty set on having just two. I don't want to go 4-3-3. I'm pretty happy with either 4-4-2 or 3-5-2. And on that basis, I'm kind of happy with my Aguero and my Aubameyang, and I'm kind of setting and forgetting those guys, unless there's something major goes wrong in pre-season. There's others that are on my periphery, like Tosun, like Zaha, like Arnautovic. I feel like if one of those suddenly becomes essential, then it's easy to get them, and then have a load of money in the bank to do something with. So I don't feel like I really need to get them right now. So
one thing I was going to say when we're talking about the midfielders, and I forgot. Just to update you on the Son situation, Spurs have come out and said that Son will only play in game week 1 and then is off to the Asia Games.
Yeah, I heard this. Yeah,
so
one game week and then he's done.
So don't get Son, is what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, unless you want
to make a transfer for game week 2.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Okay. Anything else on forwards?
Don't think so.
Yeah, pretty much there, aren't we? Pretty much there. Okay. So they are our teams, guys. Those are our thoughts. That is what we are thinking so far. And things will change again between now and the next live stream we do, which I think we'll try and do in a couple of weeks from now. Things will change.
Yeah, I think
There'll be a lot of other
transfers
going on.
Transfer deadline day. It's a very big day.
It's on my birthday actually.
It's on your birthday.
August the 9th, transfer deadline day. So I'll have a transfer deadline birthday. Let's hope that.
And it's actually on a Thursday, so we could stream.
We could do a stream. Yeah, we absolutely could. I mean, transfer deadline day goes all the way up to 11. So
no,
we could do
I don't think it does.
Does it not?
I think it's at 5.
We can't stream during the day then. That's
no, but we could stream afterwards because we'll know what's happened.
Yeah, sure. I don't think there's going to be any more transfers in for Liverpool. I mean, the Fekir thing is still knocking about.
I think you've got enough now. Can you stop being so greedy?
We've had a very good window. Who's Spurs been linked with? I mean, it's outside of Zaha, you've got to sign somebody, haven't you? Don't look at me like that. It's a genuine thing. It's not me taking the pee as usual. I'm saying Spurs haven't signed anybody yet.
We've been linked with a lot of people, but whether anything's actually going to
happen...
Spurs
are always linked with a lot of people.
Well, correct. But whether anything's going to happen... To be fair, I think what they've been doing, they've been focusing at the moment on... There's been a lot of new contracts given out at Spurs over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It feels a bit like they're sorting out the old contracts, getting new ones ready, and then hopefully we'll see some fresh blood... in the team soon.
Well, the guys are shouting polls at me, which means
we haven't done
things.
We
need to have a look at polls. Should we do polls first? Let's do the predictions first, guys. So we're going to do these predictions. I'm going to look away from you writing. I want your top 4, your bottom 3, and who you think is a golden boot.
How did you write the bottom 3 down? Did you write that's the bottom and that's...
So where you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, yes, and then I put 18, 19, 20.
Okay, right.
So who I think is coming bottom there, 18, 19, 20. Guys, while Sam is doing that, and we put it in the special envelope, which gets Sam's squiggly seal of approval on the back, I want to know from you guys, stick it in the live chat now. I want to talk about who you think is going to be the top 4, who's going to be relegated, who's the bottom 3, and who's your golden boot. And we will take... I don't know how we're going to do it, but I'm going to look at the top chat here, and I'm going to take a bit of a picture of it and kind of decide who you, the in-law community, think are going to be top 4, bottom 3, and golden boot. So get typing now. Let's have a look. And I'm gonna say talk about a few of these on the chat while you're doing that, Sam.
I can't decide who I think is going to get relegated.
Don't take too much time about it because we do need to move it on.
I've done it pretty much.
You've done it pretty much.
I'm just writing down the ones I think are going to get relegated, but I haven't thought about which order I think they're going to get relegated in.
So Josh is saying Arsenal, Liverpool, City, United, top 4. Interesting that Arsenal's in there, Josh. Very, very good. Rishab is saying City, Liverpool, United, Chelsea.
Chelsea?
This is just it's opinion. Ben Scott is saying Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Spurs. Interesting.
That's
no
better.
Man United. Wow. Amwinit, of course, is Liverpool, City, United, Arsenal, Salah,
All these
Golden
people
Boot.
think Liverpool going to win the league.
I love Amwinit. He is even more of a Liverpool fan than me. It's superb. Eric Lord, top four: Man United, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, United for the league. Guys, I want these in order as well. So I want you to your first teams who you think are champions. Shashank, Liverpool, United, Arsenal, City. Dan C, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs. Walid is saying Liverpool, City, United, Arsenal. Interesting, a big mix here. It's a big mix. So it's definitely a lot of Liverpool, definitely a lot of City, as you'd expect. A lot of Chelsea actually in here, isn't there? There's quite a bit of Chelsea. Man U, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal there from JP43. Thanks, JP. Are you done? You're done, right. I'm not going to look. This is going in. Actually, you do it. Stick it in your envelope. I will do the squiggly seal of approval. We'll do that in a minute. Ben Scott, changed my mind. 1 Wolves, 2 Liverpool, 3 City, 4 Chelsea. I love that.
They are
Fabulous.
8 favourites to win the league.
Fabulous. Right. So that is Sam's Premier League predictions. I need to be on the OBS so I can see if I'm doing that correct. There we go. Premier League predictions for Sam. I'm going to give it a little squiggle so that we know that we're not opening it or no one's cheated.
I'm really not happy with you. I've said it's going to get relegated.
Have you even looked?
Huh?
Have you even looked at like the odds for relegation or anything?
No,
like that?
of course I haven't looked at odds for relegation.
Oh, goodness me. Right, so that is your prediction. They are going on top of my predictions right there, and we will open those in about 9 months from now.
We need a little time capsule, don't we?
We need a little time capsule. Have you got another envelope? We can get one from upstairs.
Upstairs, I'll get one from your office later.
Perfect. Right, so we're going to talk about your top 4 guys and your bottom 3 and also the Golden Boot. So let's have a look at this. Let's see, because I was definitely seeing a lot of Liverpool, definitely seeing a lot of City. I'm seeing Liverpool and City 1 and 2. I think that's what the community are telling me. So I'll let. Let's read it. I think people are going City, Liverpool in that order.
Why did you look at me for so long?
Because what I was going to say was I'm going to let you decide which way around we put that. But you've already made your predictions. I want this to be the guys saying. I think the guys are saying City and Liverpool. I think that's what's happening here.
City first, Liverpool second.
I think that's what's happening here. City and Liverpool. Let's see what James Harding. City, Liverpool, United, Spurs. United getting a lot of love. Spurs getting a lot of love.
I think that is the top 4 that you've got there.
Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Spurs.
Not Arsenal.
City, Liverpool, United, Arsenal. City, Liverpool, United, Arsenal. City, Liverpool, United.
I think United. Thing. It's the new manager thing at Arsenal that puts me off. I think they will have a good season, but it's with a new manager. You just don't know how they're going to go. Do you?
The people have spoken. It is Man United third. It is City first, Liverpool second, Man United third, and then fourth is. Frankly,
if you don't put Spurs fourth, I'm going to storm off and not come back.
Vinyl Richie, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs. Really? Yeah, okay. Yeah, City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs. City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man U. It's a lot of Arsenal in here, Sam. Man U, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal. City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs. City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs.
There's a lot of Spurs in there, Lee.
There's a lot of Arsenal as well.
We'll put Arsenal and Spurs in fourth because they can't decide. So let them have both.
Arsenal or Spurs.
Just put Arsenal, Spurs. Basically, what we're saying is North London will come fourth.
Guys, we are saying the FPL family in-laws are saying City, Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal.
Or Spurs.
Or Spurs. I've put all Spurs. Right, I've put all Spurs. Now, guys, I want to hear from you. Bottom 3. Bottom 3. Let's see. Let's hear it.
This is when I'm going to want to change
Relegated. Mine. Bournemouth, Cardiff, Huddersfield. I don't think that's too far wrong. Neil Craston. Bournemouth, Cardiff, Huddersfield. Let's hear it, guys. Bottom 3. Bottom 3.
I've put somebody really random in mine.
You haven't gone like Everton. You've been hating on Everton this stream.
Like I haven't gone Everton. No, but I have gone for a big club.
Rishab, West Ham, Cardiff, Huddersfield. After spending all this money in the summer window, West Ham are going down.
What, without
Rishab.
Joe Hart? That's going to send them down.
Jack Wilshere is going there to send them down. West Ham, Cardiff, Huddersfield. I'm seeing a lot of Cardiff. I'm seeing a lot of Huddersfield. Yeah. Simon, Watford, Huddersfield, Cardiff. Liam, Cardiff, Watford, Huddersfield.
Oh, not Watford. Poor Joe.
I can see a lot of Cardiffs here. I'm going. I'm sorry, Cardiff fans. If there are any of you there, I'm going Cardiff bottom. I'm seeing a lot of Huddersfield. I'm seeing a bit of Watford. I'm sorry, Rishab. I'm not having West Ham. I'm not having that. I think they're staying up. Dan C, Southampton. Cardiff, Huddersfield, Southampton to go down. Kyle Stato will not be happy. Let's have a look at this. Eric Law, bottom 3. Cardiff, Brighton, Liverpool. Very good, Eric. Very good. Very good. Let's see. Let's scroll down a little bit.
Imagine.
Notorious Nerdy saying Watford, Cardiff. I tell you, Watford not getting a lot of love at all. I'm gonna go Watford 19th.
Oh no, not
going
poor
Watford
old
19th.
Joe. Don't, you're gonna break his heart.
I'm doing it. Not a lot of love for Watford at all. I think we're going.
Joe,
we're going
if you
there.
get relegated, love, we'll have to. I don't know.
MU Fan TV.
Send you
Fulham
some
has no
tissues.
squad. Yeah, fair. Yeah,
They don't. They've only got 12 players in the game.
Jamal Rice, bottom 3. Fulham, Huddersfield, and Cardiff. I'm seeing a lot of Huddersfield. Not a lot of love for Huddersfield.
There's a lot of Huddersfield, you've said.
Southampton, Huddersfield. Huddersfield are in most, aren't they? I think. All right, let's go Huddersfield. Let's go Huddersfield, Watford, and Cardiff, guys. Okay, now Golden Boot. So I'm going to review the top 3 and the bottom 3 and the top 4. But I want to hear from you guys.
Them to
Golden
predict.
Boot.
Leo, Sam.
Right, who's going to come top in FPL? I was planning to do an FPL predictions thing next stream, but if you want to do that now,
well, it can go on
happy
this.
to do it now. So guys, Golden Boot. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Jeff Holt, Salah, Firetog, Salah, Carry 256, Kane, Ammonit, Salah, Will, Aubameyang, Tom Mason, Austin. Like it, Tom. Like it. Eric Lord, Golden Boot, Aubameyang, Shashank, Aubameyang, Liam Rist, Gabbiadini. Oh man,
Nobody's even talked about Gabbiadini in this stream.
No one in FPL 18-19 has even spoken the words Gabbiadini.
Has he even got an ownership above naught?
Ibrahim Plazy, Bobby Reeds, love it. Lokon Kun, Alba, Josh Telling, Alba, Sidan, Aubameyang, Walid, Aubameyang, Jeff Holt, Wilson. Here we go. Come on, Callum Wilson.
We're having Wilson watch this season, so that would be good.
Simon, Salah, MU Fan TV, Sanchez. I like that. It's out there. That is
interesting pick.
Spencer Lee, quite rightly, has said Karius is having a mare against Dortmund. I know that we're on. I think Liverpool playing Dortmund. I think it's on TV as well. Guys, tell me what channel that's on. I want to watch that.
No, we're watching Love Island.
We are not. I'm not watching Love Island. I will happily watch Love Island after the Liverpool game.
No, it's after Love Island.
We're getting away from this. Rishab is saying Rondon. MU Fan TV, Rondon.
Yeah, but he's going to Newcastle apparently.
Gavin Doyle, what about Sorloth? God, we've not even mentioned Sorloth. Get on Twitter, Gavin. We'll be talking about Sorloth a bit later on. I think he's a good shout. Karthik, Sanchez, Golden Boot, Kane from Peter Gray. Listen, there's a lot in there, but
I think there was more Aubameyangs than
there was a
anything else.
lot of Aubameyangs. A lot of Aubameyangs. There's a lot of Salahs to begin with. There's a few Sanchez's at the end, but there's a lot of Aubameyangs. So I'm going to put Aubameyang. That is the FPL family in-laws tip for the Golden Boot. So you guys are saying City, Liverpool, United, Arsenal or Spurs, bottom 3, Huddersfield, Watford and Cardiff, Golden Boot, Aubameyang. There it is. It is right there. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to fold that up. We're going to put it in an envelope. So we'll obviously know what those predictions are. We're going to compare them in May to our predictions. So guys, thank you for that. That was awesome. Very, very good. We're going to put that there. Right. Before we go, we need to talk about the polls. Let's do those. So let's have a look at where we stand with these. Do you want to vote? Best budget forward? Who do you think? Tosin, because you've got so much love for Everton. Zaha. Best budget midfielder. I think Kenny, based on what we've said, right? Liverpool defence, 1 or 2 or 3?
Just the one.
Just the one. Okay. So let's see what you guys are saying. So the best budget forward, Zaha, 7 million. 30% of you going for that. Arnie, actually, 36. Goodness me. So.
Oh, I've just swung it, have I?
No. So Arnie is actually first. So Arnie first in 36. Zaha 30. I've put Tosin 6'5". That's not right. Is he 7? I think in the game, isn't he? So Tosin in at 21%, and then Wood in at 8%, Sorloth in at 2%. So Zaha and Arnie, clearly the favourites in that bracket. Best budget midfielder, we are looking at, in 5th place, Jorginho with 5%. Interesting one. I think he's a deep lying midfielder, right? I mean, there's a reason he's 5.0 in FPL. There's a reason we haven't talked about him much on here. Clearly a talented player, but I don't think he's going to be the one for Chelsea in FPL. Bringing up the rear after that is Wilshere at 5.0. 11%. I was thinking maybe potentially a bit higher. Neves then from Wolves, again 5 million. 18%. Kennedy at 24% is a player we haven't really mentioned on this stream. Terrible fixtures to start the season. Terrible fixtures, but does play Spurs first, so you never know. Could get some decent points from the off. 24% Kennedy. 39% Kenny.
I think gonna have a row.
I think Kenny is looking a very, very good pick. Very, very good pick indeed. And then Liverpool defence, 88% of you going just the one, with 11% doubling up. So
you want strikers from Liverpool. You don't.
I think that's what it comes down to, isn't it? You don't want to use up 2 or 3 of your Liverpool slots with the defenders. No, I totally get that. Guys, I think that is it. We are again over time, but and just a quick shout out to Rishab saying I'm going to be sleeping on the couch tonight by the looks of it. FPL Cadet is saying thank you for joining FPL Cadet. He's saying I fancy Kennedy, and I do as well. I think he looks very, very good. Alba could have a great season this year, he says, with a few flaming football emojis. Very, very good indeed. I think you could be right. Alisson to play on the 4th of August versus Napoli, Michelle's saying. Okay, hope he does.
That'll be his first game, will it?
It looks like that could be his first game in a red shirt. Yeah, absolutely. Good. All right, guys. Well, listen, thank you for joining. Again, we've covered a lot, but I still feel like we're only just scratching the surface here. I feel like we've got a season preview 3.0 in us, don't you? I think there's another stream in us before the season starts.
Let's be honest, we've always got an hour talking nonsense in us.
We've always got that. We've definitely got that in our locker.
that is our unique selling point. That we talk nonsense.
I don't think you can have that as a USP, but if you want to go with that, we'll go with that. Guys, thank you for joining us. I think we peaked somewhere at like 130 viewers at one stage, which is absolutely sensational. That's brilliant. I mean, this is uncharted territory for FPL, and I'm guessing it's, we now got a decent microphone, so the guys can hear you and me a bit more clearly.
Could also be like good. Mystic Meg.
You could be like Mystic Sam with a bit of a... The camera's probably a bit too high to see that.
It probably actually looks really rude.
It just looks really weird.
It does.
It just looks really odd. So, oh god, yeah, that looks really weird. So we've got the new microphone, so it's great that sounds working and sounding good. We've got the new graphics as well. So thank you to Luke Walkinshaw, who's a bit of a regular on here, at LX_designs. If you don't follow him on Twitter,
I love Luke's graphics.
They're cool, right?
They're brilliant.
Way better than any trash we could come up with. So
it's particularly the one for the holding screen, because it's got Kane on it.
Yes, I thought you would like that. Yeah, the first draft he sent me didn't have any Spurs players, and then you vetoed it. You were like, "Can you put Kane in?"
And I'm waiting for one with Trippier in it because I love Trippier.
Okay, don't push your luck. There's only a certain amount of hours in the day that poor Luke's got to
make one
come up with
Trippier in it.
Yeah, to sort of get on with our demands. But guys, thank you for joining. Another brilliant episode. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. We will be back in, I think, about 2 weeks from now, won't we? There'll be more transfer activity. We'll be a bit clearer on who's gone where. It'll be nearly transfer deadline day on August the 9th. And then the season kicks off on the 10th?
No, the 11th.
Maybe the 11th?
Spurs opening game, isn't it? Lunchtime.
I'm pretty sure it's a Friday kickoff, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's a Friday kickoff. Yeah, I might be wrong about that.
Again, is it?
Yeah.
Let's not do what we did last year and arrange date night for the opening game of the season.
No, don't do that. It's very important that we're here for the kickoff. First game of the season, I'm pretty sure, is the Friday. Transfer window closes on the Thursday, and then it's Spurs, etc., and a full Premier League fixture list on the Saturday. Man United. The guys saying Man United, Leicester, of course, on Friday. So that's the game to kick it off.
And then Spurs, Newcastle, lunchtime Saturday.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's United v Leicester on the Friday. Guys, thank you for joining us as ever. If you're not following us on Twitter, we do need to do a bit of a shout out to the Twitter account. Here it is. It is at FPLFamily. I'm hoping that most of you guys have seen us on Twitter already, are following us. So please check us out on Twitter, as well as at FPLFamily on Instagram as well. The following has actually gone pretty mental on both of those recently. So you can tell that people are getting back into the game and following us. That is great. Thank you very much for your support. And if you're new to the channel, if this is the first live stream you've checked us out on, hopefully you enjoyed it. Hit that like button if you did. Subscribe. We've also had a bit of a splurge on subscribers recently as well, which is awesome. So guys, thank you for subscribing if you've already done that. We will see you in a couple of weeks. You can catch me on Twitter, like I say, at FPLFamily, or yourself on Instagram at FPLFamily, and we will see you in a couple of weeks from now. Thank you for joining us.
Have a good evening, everyone.